Is this jacket loud enough for you? I mean, is it just... I got this in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was at a Nebraska game 9 years ago now, maybe, and 8 years ago. And we went into a sporting goods shop there near campus, and they had this jacket, back in the back of the store, where the expensive jackets were. And it was pretty obnoxious. Look at that. But I was compelled to get it. So I did. And then I realized later, I go, that's the exact kind of jacket my dad would have gotten. I would have made fun of him for getting it. And so here I am, becoming my father in my old age, getting loud, obnoxious jackets. And I don't even care. I'm actually kind of proud to wear it. Where as a 21-year-old, I would have been embarrassed to wear it, but not now. I'm a little embarrassed how my teams performed, but the jacket, thumbs up. Hey, everybody. It is time for Aaron Live. We are late. This is like a late edition. I know Ethan's streaming. So I'm up against it, but hey, you got to do the show. And if people want to come in and watch it in reruns, you guys are more than welcome to do so. I'm glad to have you if you're watching this right now in a rerun. Actually, if you're watching it right now, it's live. But if you're watching it later, it's going to look exactly the same, but it'll actually be a rerun. So regardless, thank you for joining me one way or the other. Shelly was just saying earlier today, she was saying, maybe we should switch Aaron Live to a different day, because it seems like we keep getting called for babysitting duty on Sunday. And it's like, I got a show to do. So like, could we move it to Friday afternoons? Could we move it to Thursday, afternoons maybe? I don't know. What do you guys think? But I'm giving it some thought, moving it around a little bit maybe. But we'll see. We'll see how it shapes up as things move along. I got a lot of stuff I want to go over today. But first, let's see who's here. Sequential Treasures is here. He says, wow, totally retro, like the old days when you held it much later. Oh, and I'm the first again. Lol. Creative Phase here. I was beginning to wonder about you. There's people always wondering about me. Hopefully I had something to eat. No, I didn't. She says she's so jealous of a Man Thing lunchbox. That is so cool. We're going to take a closer look at that and some other stuff here in a couple minutes, as I got gifted a bunch of stuff this weekend, and I'm not sure who gave it to me. So we're going to get to the bottom of that. Ronan's here. Citizen Ronan is here. So like Ronan is here, and then Citizen Ronan right below him. Let's see. Ella Campbell is here. Well, Ella, hi, Aaron. I'm so excited to watch this. Oh, that's my daughter's friend. Hey, Ella. Oh, hey. College kids watching old guys watching their friends' dads do YouTube so they can make fun of them later. So I'll do my best to provide you with quality entertainment. Anyway. So let's see here. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. And let's see. Duck Bacon is joining us. GJ Martinez. He says, oh, sweet deal. The night has been saved. Aaron Live is actually about to begin. It is. GJ actually sent me a Twitter notice today like, hey, are you doing the show? Oh, I'm doing the show. In fact, I'm right here right now doing the show. So thanks for joining us. And or me. Or us, or all of us, or whatever. Eric N. Boyd is here. Randy Howell, all the way from Canada. Tippy Tail McKitty. Hey, Aaron, I voted 4 times for you in the awards yesterday, but it wasn't enough. We'll get into that a little bit, too. Let's see here. Marcus Killer Group, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge. Marcus, your books are packaged up. Well, they're not going out till tomorrow because I've got this huge shipment ready to go again. I'm hoping that I get a break in the rain so I can drive them to the post office, unload them without, I'm not going to drive them if it's raining because I don't want the books to get all wet, but I'm hoping I get a break tomorrow so I can, in the weather, so I can zip down there, dump them off and get them processed and out in the mail to you guys, but your book has been labeled and packaged up and is ready to go. Okay, let's see who else we got here. Mike McMahon's joining us. It's a Sunday staple. It is indeed. Ella's like, no. Yes. Let's see here. Oh, she says, hi, I'm here with your daughter. That would be Samantha. So these guys are cracking up right now, just making fun of me. Michael Bancroft, all the way from the other side of the world. And there's a chance that there's a poisonous spider somewhere in Michael's house in Australia. I'm just saying, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I'm saying there's probably a chance that that's true. Andy Dalloff is here. Show me comics. He says, yes, entertain us. You came to the wrong show for that. Heat Miser is here. Who else we got? I think that's everybody. Creative Faces, Aaron. Why is there a pair of jeans sitting on the chair? I feel like they've been there for months. They have been. They are torn up, and I use them for painting. And I really don't have any place to put them. So they're just over the back of that chair, and will remain there until I paint again and put those on. So Michael Bancroft saying, a chance. It's 100% certainty about the poisonous spider. I love Australia, but I might be a little scared to live there. I just might be. But, when Shelley and I went and visited in the 90s to a Comic Con there, OzCon, as it used to be called. I don't know if it's still there or not. But that's where I first met Dale Keown. And we loved Australia. We were like, gosh, we should move here. We didn't, of course, but, we were talking about it. Okay, Eric the Guapo is here. See, I did acknowledge you. Ella says, we are not making fun of you. I promise. I am here to learn. I don't know what you think you're going to learn from watching this, but it's an educational channel. So we'll see what comes up. Okay. So before we get into the goodness that is this show, let's do a little public service announcement, if you don't mind. Yeah, that's right. Like and subscribe. I'm on this slow crawl to relevance, and I need you guys to subscribe to the channel to make me look better and make me feel better about myself. So please do that. And now let's get into the eating portion of our show.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Now, in honor of my daughter watching, which I didn't know she would be, along with Ella, which I didn't know would be watching, this is what I'm having today. Can you even see that? There it is. Trader Joe's sea salt brownie bites. Every time I go by Trader Joe's, I go in and walk out with a package of these. As you can see, I've consumed them all except one, which I save for consumption on this show. This is a quality treat. And I got to say about Trader Joe's, you'd think, by going in there and looking around, it's a very kind of niche little grocery store, if you want to call it that. And it seems like it would be super expensive, but it isn't. These are actually really affordable. Or maybe they're not, and I just convinced myself that they are, but that is quality, my friends. So while we are enjoying our little snacks for today, we'll have nap time later, so I hope you brought your rugs. Let's take a look and see what's up with Frazetta today. This is the first educational part of our show, Ella, in case you're wondering. Watch your monitors. That's a pretty cool Frazetta painting, if I do say so myself. Another nice, big, impressive horse with a mysterious rider on the back. That, of course, was done for a paperback, released in 1974 by Ace Books. And it was originally written, I believe, in either 13 or 1918, somewhere in that neighborhood. And in a pulp magazine, the story was. And then much later, 1974, released as a paperback, as they did with many of Burroughs and Robert E. Howard's stories that were all originally pulp magazine stories, the Conan stuff, John Carter of Mars, all that stuff. And then they picked it up in the 60s and 70s as paperbacks and were very successful with them. And a good majority of them had fantastic Frazetta covers. That is no exception. I really do dig that one. Very kind of reminiscent of The Death Dealer and a few other things, but a cool shot. There you go. Paul Taylor is verifying. And Paul Taylor is, of course, is our resident biologist. And he confirms the truth about what I just said at the same time as Princess of Mars came out. Yep. Leg kick. Have you read any of the books Frazetta's art is on? What is this thing you call reading? I read Back to the Stone Age, which was the first book I ever bought that I bought because of Frazetta cover. But I read it. But I was a youth and I was in school and reading was cool. And now that I'm old, no one can make me read. I only look at pictures. So I don't know how good I would do in school. If I went back to school right now, I mean, first of all, I'd be the old guy in the class. But beyond that, could I actually read the textbooks that I needed to read? Do they even have textbooks anymore? No, I guess you'd have to read it on your little laptop or an iPad or something. So now if you could go to like visual school and they say, here, look at the pictures, then take a test on these pictures, I'd probably do all right. Paul again saying, I do Audible now, no more extra reading. Yeah, I read the Bible every day, and that's about the extent of my reading. Although occasionally I am rereading Cole the Conqueror, the Marvel series, comic book series from 1972. 71 through 73, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm reading the collected first 10 issues of that, which has the Marie and John Severin art. So, excuse me, that was horrible. I don't want to do that on air. They say you're never supposed to eat on air, but it's actually not the brownie. It's the drinking of the water that causes the, Anyway, so let's take a look at some strange things that have happened to me over the last few days. The number one strange thing is this. This is the Man-Thing lunchbox. Oh, it's got little comic panels on there. How quaint. Oh, comic panels on there. Now, check this out. Open this up. There's a thermos inside. Now, if you remember, those of you who are old like me, the thermos used to come in this way. It would fit in there like that, and it had like a little metal thing that clipped over it to hold it in place. And then you'd put your sandwich here and whatever, your ding dong or whatever else you brought with you. So this is clearly not meant to be used because the thermos takes up the whole freaking lunchbox. Where's my lunch going to go? The bigger question, though, is who sent this to me? I want to know. I know it has to be one of you guys because it showed up in a Amazon box, and it said my name on it. And I thought, did I order something from Amazon? Sometimes I'll order stuff and forget, but very rarely. That's more like what Shelly does. But so I thought, well, maybe I ordered a Christmas present for somebody, and I can't remember. So I cut it open and I looked and I saw that it was a lunchbox, and I went, okay, wait a minute. This is not this is not something I ordered. And it looks like something that someone would give to me. So I gave it to Shelly and I said, will you look at this? Did you order this? And she goes, no, I did not order this. And so then we checked with my son because we thought, well, maybe my son, bought me a Christmas present. But why would he ship it to our house? Right? So he said, no, I didn't do it. So the only explanation is someone in the chat sent this to me. And I want to know who sent it so I can properly thank them, because this is an awesome gift. This is the image of Man-Thing from Man-Thing number 1. Frank Bruner drew it. And the interesting thing is, unfortunately here, you can't really see it, but this Man-Thing here on the top, this is Mike Plug. And the handle covers his face, though. That's kind of unfortunate. But this is awesome. It's going to go up in one of my toy cases. I got one over there with a little room in it, so that'll go in there. But I'd like to know who sent it to me so I could say thank you. So you're saying, okay, Aaron, well, that's great, but is that the only thing you got? No. Joe Fixit said, Aaron, I'm sending you out something. And I said, okay, thank you, And so I go to my P.O. box. I get this huge box, light as a feather, but huge box. I'm like, what in the world could this be? I cut it open, and there's this note in there, a really nice letter from Joe saying how much he appreciated my work on Planet Hulk. Of course, I was very touched. And look at this. This is a Planet Hulk helmet that Joe Fixit specifically had somebody model, 3D print, and then paint. And then he sent it to me. I mean, are you kidding me? I know it would. Citizen Ronan, is that for the baby? This would probably fit perfectly on our grandson's head right now. Although his melon's getting pretty big. It'd be close. But, I mean, how cool is this? And so Joe Fixit just sends me this out of appreciation for the work I did on Planet Hulk. Is that nice or what? That's incredible. So now I have these two really cool things. I know who sent one of them. I have no idea who sent the other one. And, but they're both going in my, got to make some room in the old showcase. But this is cool. So I thought that was really nice of Joe to do that. I was really surprised. Okay, now this is a little bit of a different story here. I was just over at my son's house. He has a 9-foot Christmas tree, fake, but frosted, real nice. And so he wanted help putting it together because he had to move all this furniture and stuff. And so we moved the furniture, put the tree up, and I see this sitting on the floor of his family room upstairs. And I go, Josh, what's going on? What are you doing with Lockjaw? And he goes, oh, I'm going to sell it. And I go, no, you're not. I bought this for you when you were a kid, and he wants to get rid of it. And I said, well, then sell it to me. So, because I love Lockjaw. So talk about a good businessman. So then he gets me, I basically paid for this twice. So I originally bought it for him when he was a kid. And then he wants to get rid of it, make some room because he has too many busts. I get it. And so he's going to sell it. And I said, no, I want it because I love Lockjaw. And so I paid him for it. So I literally paid for this twice. Now he went and looked at a price on eBay, and he didn't tell me what it was, and I didn't look. He says, yeah, I'll give it to you for 40. And I was like, $40? I said, I'll give you 35 and not a penny more. No, I gave him 40. Actually, Shelly did, because I'd have my phone with him. I go, Shelly, Venmo your son $40. And she did, so I didn't have to pay for it. But I guess it all comes out of the same wallet eventually. So let's take a look at this. I love Lockjaw. It's one of my faves. So there you go. So I bought this. After buying it for my son as a kid, I rebought it from him again, and now it's mine because I just couldn't let Lockjaw go. I had to keep him. Isn't he fun? Look at that. How could you let that face go? I love bulldogs. I don't have one because they're too freaking expensive, but So this will be as close as I get. So this is Lockjaw from the Inhumans. There you go. Man, they were making huge print runs of these. If you remember the first batch they did, like I got the Man-Thing bust was like from the original run of Randy Bowen busts when they first started coming out. I think the print run on that was like 750 or something. This is 2000. This is number 1751 of 2000. Sculpted by Ruben Procopio from Bowen Designs. How about that? Made in China. China. Excuse me, that's terrible. But here we are. So he's not going to stay in the box. So I'm going to put him in there for right now for safekeeping. But he too will find a place of honor in one of my display cases. And I'll tell you right now, I'm running out of room with all these new additions just coming this week. So there you go. It's Lockjaw, folks. A Marvel mini bust. Oh, look at Shelly. You know that Shelly's in the chat, and that reminds me, it's time for an update. First of all, on Kit Carter. There she is. Oh, look, I'm hiding behind Kit Carter. So here's the deal. We are less than 200 away from being done. Look, it's like Kit with moving arms. So we have only, I think we have a little less than 100 internationals to ship. And then we have like 60 some or 50 some, 60 some US left to ship. There was originally 1,700 orders on this campaign, and we're now down to, like I said, less than 200 to ship out. So that's pretty exciting. And I'll be doing more boxing up this evening. And so if you've been patiently waiting for your Kit Carter, I thank you for your patience, but we're almost there. And whoever gets the last box to ship out will get a special prize for being the last person to receive their book. So there you go. That's what's going on with Kit. Now, let's take a moment, if I may. And since it's my show, I guess I can do whatever I want, right? Let's take a look at this. This is Wraith of God 3 Fear Hollow. We're at $69,827. I want to get this to 70,000 at least. Now, this campaign has officially closed, but it's not closed because it's in demand. In demand is the store feature that you'll find on Indiegogo that it basically allows you to back anything you could have backed while the campaign was live. So it'll stay in demand until I'm finished with the book and it goes to the printer, and then we'll do a final closeout, and whatever the orders are when I close it out, that's the orders. And so there's still time, of course, to back, but I encourage you guys to get in there and support the campaign as early as you possibly can. I know we're getting close to the holidays. Things are getting a little tight, but I'm going to continue to push and promote, and we'll see where we finally end up here in probably around May when this book is done. But you have 4 cover options. You got Wraith of God, Fear Hollow. This is version A, the regular version. You've got the EC Comics from the 1950s, kind of a retro tribute cover. It's kind of fun. You've got
there's treats?
Huh?
Did I hear there's treats?
I ate it. It was just one treat. It was one treat, and I ate it. One treat, and I ate it.
Time for the whooping. I'm gonna beat you with a ruler. Look at that thing.
Let me finish pitching my wares here.
Pitch away.
This is the 1972 retro Marvel cover. It's kind of my favorite. I love that yellow. It's so obnoxious. And then, of course, the wonderful painted cover by Chris Stevens, a good friend of the show's. And here's a backup story that will only appear. This is by David Williams, and I wrote it. David drew it. It's only going to appear in the book as a backup story if we hit 100,000. So we got a long way to go, but hope springs eternal. So far, we have 2 stretch goals unlocked. Let's get to 80,000 and we get that trunk card, which is the elephant guy from the nightclub, to add to the growing Empire Comics collection of trading cards, because that's fun stuff. You can get the Wraith of God Nouveau print. There's 500 of those. Once they're gone, they're gone. They come signed and numbered. They're 11 by 17. So it's not a mini print. It's a nice 11 by 17 print. You can get Wraith of God Roughs Volume 3. This is 48 pages of page layouts to the graphic novel. So you can kind of pull back the curtain and see the process that goes into actually making the comic. Get your nightclub shot glass. Now, if you're saying, well, Aaron, who's the nightclub? What is that? The nightclub was one of the featured backup stories in Wraith of God Blood Hunters, which is Wraith of God 2. And every campaign I've done has had a shot glass in it. The first one was Wraith of God. The second one was Garbage Man. The third one was Kit Carter. And the fourth one now will be the nightclub. So eventually there's going to be 6 total shot glasses. And you'll want to collect all of them. I know I will. So you want to consider ordering that. Laser etched on the glass, doesn't wash off. It's not like like those 7-Eleven glasses with the Marvel characters. The more you wash them, the more the paint comes off. Laser etched. So you can wash it without any fear. You can get a commemorative set of 3 clay poker chips. The Wraith, Esther, and Dale Keown's Werewolf. And speaking of back issues, you can get Wraith of God #1, the second printing. It has a new cover on it. And you have the black and white variant, which is only about 300 of those printed up, so it's very rare. It's color on the inside, just the cover is black and white with no logo or anything. And then this is the aforementioned Wraith of God Blood Hunters. This is Wraith of God #2, which features the Kit Carter backup story. So if you're reading the Kit Carter graphic novel and you haven't read this, you're missing. So you might want to consider getting it. These are also available, these 2 books, on my website store, AaronLopresti.com. You'll find a link in the description of this video, or you can order them on the campaign. They're cheaper on the campaign, but you get them right away if you order them through the store, so that's up to you. But this also has backup stories featuring the nightclub. So the nightclub makes an appearance in, their first appearance is in the Garbage Man trade paperback, which is available on my website. Then they also make, there's a brief appearance in the epilogue of Wraith of God 1, which if you got the second printing, it would be in there. And then, of course, the first full story, 16 pages. I don't know. It's some amount of pages. And there's a backup story in Wraith of God Blood Hunters. So you want a little nightclub information? That's how you get it. But anyway, these are all the things and much more that you can get on this campaign. Please consider backing if you haven't already. Those of you who have backed, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. We might be doing a Bisley t-shirt a little bit later, so keep your eyes open for that. And I'm going to post some more original art. I know I keep threatening to do that. Haven't done it yet, but I'm not doing anything until the last Kit Carter book is shipped out, and then we go full bore 100% into Wraith of God Fear Hollow. But anyway, you'll find a link in the description of this video. It'll take you right there if you'd like to back the campaign and get one of these books in 2024. Thank you for your patronage. All righty. So we've looked at my Christmas presents that I've got already this year, and it's not even Thanksgiving. We've given you campaign updates. What more could you possibly want? Well, how about this? Somebody reached out to me, and I can't remember. You have to forgive me. I can't remember exactly who reached out to me, but mentioned, hey, when you're done doing your top 5 comics for every decade, can you just go through and do like your favorite comic covers? And I thought, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I've done it before on a blog post years ago, and every once in a while I'll talk about various things on the Professionals and other shows that I'm on. But I thought, let's go through it. Let's do that. But I can't just do 5 per decade. There's too many great covers. So I'm not really going to call this my top 5 for this week. It's just going to be a look at Golden Age covers. And then we'll take a look at some Silver Age covers. Ugh, pardon me, Bronze Age, that sort of thing. As we go along, we'll go through the decades actually. So I think next week I'll do like 50s. These are 1940s covers. Then we'll take a look at some from the 50s, then the 60s, and so forth and so on. But it won't officially be top 5 because I'm looking at more than just 5. Let's take a look at a couple of the super chats. For $5, Show Me Comics. Thank you so much. Says my patience paid off. Thanks for my Kit Carter stuff. Hey, thanks for backing it. And I apologize that it took so long to get there. As you all know, though, and I assume everybody's reading the updates that I send up, but I find out daily that people are not reading the updates because they ask me questions that I've answered in the updates and I have to explain. And so the situation was that the hardcovers, the printer destroyed the hardcovers on the first batch. The entire run was, except for 24 copies, which I sent out, excuse me, to customers. Then it was supposed to be, those hardcovers were supposed to be reprinted within a week and back to me, so I didn't lose any time. That's not what happened. And ended up taking over a month to get the hardcovers back from the printer. So I do have them and I've been shipping them out. And so there was that month delay there before the hardcovers could go out. And certain creative aspects of getting the book done took longer, way longer than I was anticipating it had taking. And so everything got delayed and this book got pushed back like 3 or 4 months, which is really infuriating to me because I'm very punctual. And I like to have this stuff get out on time as I've advertised it. And so this book unfortunately has taken way too long to get to you guys, but like I said, we're almost there. So, like I said, we've had 1,700 orders, 1,500 have been shipped. We have less than 200 left. So everything is pretty much out except for the stragglers. And I feel sorry for you, but somebody's got to be last. And if you haven't got your book yet, that's you. So I apologize. Maybe next time you'll be first. But anyway, as long as you get it and you're happy with it and everybody's happy, I'm happy, you're happy. That's all that matters, I think. Apex Comics for $5. 60s go-go dancer turned vampire hero with bulletproof tatas. Fembat is live on Fun. Oh, okay. I see. He's promoting a book. Fembat is live on Fund My Comic. Kit Carter is an awesome book. Hail Comics Gate. So Apex Comics pushing his wares. Thank you for the 5, and I'm more than happy to spread the word that Fembat is live on Fund My Comics. So get over there and check that out. Mike McMahon for $4.99. Can't wait to back this. You will always get my money. God bless you and Shelley. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that very much. We will always take your money, but thank you for supporting our books. All you guys for supporting the books. Obviously, we could not produce these books without your participation, and I greatly appreciate it. Legkick says, I'm going to get Wraith 3 soon. Now, of course, Legkick's been on strike, so, he's a union man. Michael Bancroft says, I only drink Scottish whiskey. I only use whiskey to clean things with. So I have never, I don't think I've ever had a drink of whiskey. I almost feel like I should, since I'm like doing a Western comic. Shouldn't I be have a shot of whiskey every once in a while? It'd probably kill me. It would probably kill me. I did have a shot of tequila once, and that nearly killed me. Paul Taylor says, our post office just went on strike last Friday. Christmas must be coming. Great. I'm sure all the Canadian orders I just shipped out, they'll be thrilled to hear that. All righty. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these. I don't really have an intro for this because it's not part of my top 5. So let's just get right into it. These aren't in any particular order, but these to me are sort of Golden Age covers that sort of stood out to me over the years. Some of them you've seen before, but you haven't seen all of them. This is Superman number 14. Talk about classic. Look at that. This is by the way, Ella, if you're still with us, this is the educational part of the show. So pay attention. This is Superman number 14, which would put us probably about 1941-ish, 1940. Well, Superman number 1 was 1939, wasn't it? So yeah, we're probably about 1940 on this. Very groovy. I got this Adobe window keeps opening and closing, and I can't stop it. It's driving me nuts. So I'm not a big DC guy, but this is a pretty darn cool cover. So that's in there. I could say, I keep wanting to say number 5, but you know, I got like 10 of these. So this one you guys have seen before, but gosh darn it, you're going to see it again. I actually own a copy of this book. Took me years to find this comic. I originally saw this in a Overstreet price guide in the cover gallery section. They'd always have in the back of the price guide. They'd have like, you know, galleries of, you know, older covers. And as a young wee lad of 12 or 13, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I want that comic. I wasn't unable to find a copy of this book until we moved back from CrossGen, which would have been like 2005 or 2006, something like that. And I was looking for it for years. The only copy I ever saw was the Mile High copy, which was way more expensive than I could pay for at the time. But I think it was like a 9.6 or something ridiculous like that. But I do have a nice, fine, you know, fine plus-ish copy of this book. And it's Reed Crandall cover. It's just iconic. I'm a big fan of Uncle Sam and all the patriotic stuff from 1941 to 45 during, you know, World War II. So, and big Reed Crandall fan on top of it. So it was a great combination, Uncle Sam and Reed Crandall. Now, this one, it's another DC book, which, again, not a big DC guy, but this one makes the cut. More Fun Comics. This is not the first appearance of the Spectre, although it's the type of cover that it should be the first appearance of the Spectre. The actual first appearance of the Spectre cover is actually quite lame. This is really cool. And I will say this. I visited, I think Josh was with me. Was he? Probably. And we went to DC when it was in Burbank, and they have a library there of like every issue they've ever published, right? Most of them are bound in volumes, like notebook volumes, right? So they don't have like single issues just laying around. They're either bound into these volumes or they're hole punched into these volumes. So anyway, I've actually seen that comic. I mean, I went and searched it out, you know, through the book section, you know, alphabetically went through, found More Fun Comics, flipped through, and actually sort of held that comic in my hand, sort of. It was in a binder, but, you know, so that was pretty cool. But that's a great Spectre cover, and one of the great Spectre covers all time. This would be a good one to remake. I should redo that, shouldn't I? Do a recreation of that. Would be pretty cool. I think I've talked myself into it. I'm going to do it. So there you go. Be on the lookout for More Fun Comics number 54 recreation. Yet another recreation cover that I probably won't be able to sell, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't know who drew that. Marcus, who drew that? Well, Marcus knows. Somebody knows who drew that cover. I can't remember. Someone said Bernard Bailey. There it is. Okay. I'll take that. Okay. Now you guys have seen this one before because I talk about this one all the time. This is probably my favorite Golden Age cover. This is by the great Alex Schomburg. And all of his covers are busy. I mean, there's a ton of things going on. It's like almost like a Where's Waldo. This one, there's two covers that he did. This and USA number 7, which I didn't include on this list, but are his two best covers because they're big figures that are separated from the background and doing Captain America, Human Torch, and Submariner as giants fighting the Nazis in this Nazi castle is genius. Genius. Instead of making them all small and just another one of his busy covers, this one really stands out. It's gone up so much in value that I don't think I could ever own it without basically trading most of my collection to get it. Stealth X5 for $2. Hello. Thanks, Stealth. Appreciate the 2 and appreciate the salutations. There you go, Ella. That's a big word. Salutations. Look that one up. That's more education today. For free, by the way. Yeah, so I actually had an opportunity to get this. A guy I know that was doing independent comics back in the 90s said, hey, if you do an entire issue of this book for me, he had a copy of this. He goes, I'll give you this. And at the time, the book was, excuse me while I just rub my eye because it itches. At the time, this book was worth $5,000 in that condition or so. And I was like, dude, I'm not drawing it. Oh, actually, he wanted me to draw the miniseries. So it's 4 issues. He wanted me to draw 4 issues for $5,000. I was like, you're out of your freaking mind. So that never happened. Kind of wish I'd done it now, but you know, I had bills to pay. Oh, Barb Rogers explaining in the chat why the Canadian Post is on strike. That is pretty silly. Did that one really kind of conservative guy that was bad-mouthing Trudeau, did he win? Fine. You guys had an election. Did that dude win? I thought he was great. He was just ripping on Trudeau and all that sort of woke stuff that was going on in the parliament and everything. Mike McMahon says 22.5 on eBay. Yeah, they're not giving it away. Metropolis Comics had one a while ago that was a 6.5 for, at the time, they had 13 grand on it. But again, didn't have the cash. And now it's like way up. Okay, so next Canadian election is October 25. So you guys still have to suffer for what? Another year. Well, maybe a few months, but good luck getting rid of him. Heat Miser, look at that. My Comic Shop, do they? Has a 6.0 for 21K. I got 1K. How do I get the other 20? That's the problem. But anyway, great book. I'd love to own it someday. Maybe I will. Who knows? You never know what will happen. Here's another one that we've talked about quite a bit, probably on this show or some other show, but I love this cover. So well drawn. The iconic Captain Marvel cover with the turbine. That is just, especially for 1940, what was this? 41, 42 maybe. That's just great figure drawing. That figure drawing is really, really nice. And I've always wanted this. Also has the first appearance of Captain Marvel Jr. in it. This is a book I could get in probably a 5 or 6 for 5 to 6 grand. Probably not a 6, but I'd probably get a 5 for 5 to 6 grand. So it's actually not like unobtainable, but that's still a lot of money. What? And his name is Captain Marvel, not Shazam. So lame. Which part is lame? That he's Captain Marvel or that they call him Shazam? This is what happens when you let your copyright expire. Marvel comes up and buys it, and then now you have to call your Captain Marvel hero Shazam. That's the way it goes. But yeah, so this, I love this cover. One of my faves. Of course, drawn by the great, what's his name that I can't think of off the top of my head. Why am I like that old that I cannot? Somebody help me out. We know who drew this. It's C.C. Beck. Hey, for me. One of the really great artists of the golden age. And there you go. So C.C. Beck did that cover. It's one of my favorites. Okay, how about this one? Now, this is, talk about you'll never own this. My friends at Bedrock City had one of these a couple years ago. It was a 6.0. $55,000. It's probably more than that now because this was 7 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that they had it. And actually, it was before they shut down San Diego Comic-Con for COVID for 2 years. So it was before that. So it was like 2018, maybe. So yeah, it was like 6 years ago. And he wanted 55 grand for it. And that's a great thing about Golden Age books. If you're selling them, is like, it's not like you can just go out and find this anyplace, right? So you can pretty much charge whatever you want. But this is the first, I believe, the first Human Torch versus Submariner comic. I think this might have been 1939, which means I'm cheating by showing it in this group of 40s comics, but it might have been 1940. Somebody help me out what year this book was. And I believe that's Bill Everett on the cover, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's Bill Everett. No, Marcus Colorado says Schomburg. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Marcus Killiger goes, not only was it oh, wait a minute. Not only was it C.C. Beck. Oh, that's Paul Taylor telling me my brain is still working. I appreciate that. But not only was it C.C. Beck, it was also inked by Pete Constanza. And only Marcus Killiger would know that. And I was saying 1940. Marcus says Schomburg. Apex is saying, no, that's Bill Everett and Carl Burgos, which I am more inclined to believe. That looks like Everett to me, not Schomburg. So you guys can duke it out. But yeah, I thought that was Bill Everett. So anyway, yeah, I would love to have this book. And these books are really sort of interesting. They look kind of cool when you're looking at the image, but if you actually hold one in your hands, they are 10 times cooler. And so, yeah, I'll never own one, but I have held one. All right, so then this is probably pretty obvious too, but perhaps the most iconic cover of the 40s. Captain America beating up Adolf Hitler. I love how patriotic Bucky is down there. Also, Captain America's young ally, Bucky. He's giving the old salute. I don't know how many issues. Did it just go one issue before they made his shield round? Or did he have that for like the first 3 issues or something? I can't remember. Now look at this. Look at this. 10 cents. And you got 45 thrilling pages of Captain America, plus other great features. These books, for a dime, holy crap, did you get a lot of material for 10 cents? Man, the good old days, huh? Now I'm charging you $25 for 64 pages, but it's high quality. So I feel okay about it. Let's see here. Has anybody got the answer on the shield before he went round? That's right. Speaking of Aaron Sparrow, he has a campaign on Kickstarter called Kneel Before Doomface. Aaron is one of the good guys. He's one of us in spirit. So guys, check that out. Kneel Before Doomface. Very professional looking book. So it's not. I think it's worth. I think it's worth getting. So go check that out. Paul Taylor says Google search sucks. It's saying his original shield was destroyed by Thanos. See, that's AI for you. All right, not to be trusted. I think, guys, this went through 3 issues before it changed, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to bet my life on it. Okay, here we go. This is, in my opinion, one of the best covers of all time in terms of design. And it's not bad in execution either. This, of course, is Detective Comics number 31. Now, of course, Bob Kane takes credit for it, but we all know that Bob Kane never drew anything in his life. So I'm not sure exactly who drew this. But somebody other than Bob Kane drew it. And of course, Bob Kane took credit for it. Paul, we're only in the 1940s. Thor versus Silver Surfers in 1968. Don't get ahead of yourself. There's Apex saying first 3 issues. See, I was right. Squib says best Batman cover ever. I agree. Carbon Dioxide saying Jerry Robertson. Apex Comics says Bill Finger. Did Finger really draw that? He was writing the stories. Was he really artist enough to draw this? Who's the other guy? Would this have been Jerry Robinson, or is it too early for Jerry Robinson? Yeah, see, we got Burnley, Jerry Robinson, Bill Finger. So no one seems to know who drew this. If Kane wasn't drawing or writing, what exactly was he doing? Collecting a paycheck. That's what he was doing. I can't fault the guy for being a good businessman, but he was a bit of a shyster, and it's questionable how much of Batman he actually even created. Bill Finger, from as the stories go, did most of the heavy lifting on the creation of Batman and the way he looks. But Kane, being a smart entrepreneur, put everything in his name and copyrighted everything. And so he was the one who benefited. And the problem I have with Kane is he never really gave credit where credit was due. And that sort of bugs me. There you go. Headless bourgeoisie. Kane was picking up the paychecks and giving Bill Finger a measly 10%. And of course, there's the story that Bill Finger died, alone in a, crummy little apartment, broke. And it's like, and Bob Kane was rolling in it. And it was like, you would have thought he would have reached out and maybe helped them or something, considering that Bill Finger did like all the writing and most of the creating of this character. It's unfortunate that guys do that. It's like, check your ego and at least give partial credit. Say, hey, he co-created it. He deserves this, instead of, playing this sort of weird mind game and trying to convince everybody that you did all the work. And even when Bob Kane was doing like fine art, original paintings of Batman, someone else was doing the paintings and signing his name. I mean, the whole thing was fraud. So anyway. At least that's the story. I wasn't there, so maybe I'm talking out of school here, but I don't think I am. Yeah, Shelley Maldolf did a lot of drawing too. I remember Shelley mostly for, I know he did some Batman, but I remember him mostly for Hawkman for some reason. I actually have an original Shelley Maldolf Hawkman that he drew for me. I used to hang with him on the convention circuit when he and his wife and Marty Nodell and his wife would go to all these shows, and I would hang out with them and have breakfast and whatever. Whenever I ran into him at the restaurant, I was always by myself, and so they would always invite me to join them. And so they were a great couple, 2 couples. And I can't remember how I ended up getting a Shelley to do a Hawkman for me, but he sent it to me in the mail. And I can't remember. Actually, I think he sent me 2 of them because he couldn't remember that he already sent me one. So he sent me another one. I don't know if I traded or I can't remember how I ended up, or I just paid for one and then he mailed it to me. I can't remember. But really nice guy, both of them. So anyway, there are my list of top covers from the Golden Age. Well, not from the Golden Age, from the 1940s, which is, of course, is part of the Golden Age, but not the entire Golden Age. So next week, we'll do my favorite covers from the 50s. So there you go. How about that? Okay, let's as we get into the art portion of our show, let's take a quick look at what might be hiding in my flat files this week. My desk camera is a little finicky, so I'm not going to turn it on. I'm just going to hold the stuff up here. But I thought, what should I pull out of the old flat files? And I thought, how about some lost pinup work? Now, when I say it's lost, of course, it's not lost. It's in my files, but probably stuff you guys don't remember or have never seen, unless I've shown it previously, which is very possible. But let's take a look at this. I did a portfolio because you guys know I'm a 70s guy. And I love the whole idea of the Frazetta and Wrights and Barry Smith guys doing portfolios in the 70s and kind of like trying to turn the comic art medium into a fine arts medium, which it never really worked. I mean, they did okay for a while, but they all ended up back-drawn comics. So that tells me that perhaps it didn't go as well as they'd hoped. This was 2000. So what, 24 years ago? So I did a portfolio called, what was it called? Strange Worlds, something like that. And it had, this is one of the originals. This is one of the black and white prints. It had several, what did it have? 5 black and white prints. It was a King Kong print. There was another one that I thought I had. I couldn't find it for this segment. But I did 5 black and white pieces and then a color, or 4 black and white pieces maybe, and a color piece. And the color piece was Kit Carter, the very first Kit Carter, and Merv the Astro Chimp. But as you can see, this is very Frazetta-y, maybe with a little bit of Wrightson thrown in there. This was all done with a brush. As you can see, I was getting really delicate with the line work as I could. Then you got the girl in her little leopard bikini, hiding out with her stone knife, hiding from the big bad caveman. So I have this and another one with a girl underwater facing off against, with a spear, facing off against a plesiosaur, but I couldn't find it for some reason. So you'll just have to trust me on that one. But anyway, I think I did, I think I printed like 20 of these, and that was it. That was the extent. There was like an illustrated black and white envelope and had 4 black and white prints and the 1 color print in it. And like I said, one of them was a King Kong. One was this girl with a plesiosaur. One was this one. What was the 4th one? Was it a John Carter? It was a John Carter piece. Was the 4th one. Kind of loosely based on a Robert McGinnis composition from a Western painting he did. So anyway, now here's something that probably none of you have seen. This, I did a show in Germany, in Dortmund. See, there's Dortmund down there. That's like a little dinosaur coming out of the U there. Look at that. He's going to eat that leafy green right there. Right there. So they invited me to this show, and I said, well, I'm not coming to Europe without my wife. And they said, well, we can't really afford her. And I said, well, what can we do? How can we make this work? And he said, well, if you will do the poster for the show, and then you allow us to take this poster and make prints out of it and exploit the crap out of it and sell it like that, then we'll pay for your wife to come too. And I said, okay, deal. So this is actually a concept I have where you have these 2 astronauts, this guy and this girl. They crash land on this planet. It's kind of like a barbarian dinosaur planet, and they sort of have to survive on it, which, is kind of a nice little high concept thing. I've never done anything with it to this point, but I used these characters. I was originally going to use Kit Carter, but they liked this one better, so I went with this. And so this was made. They made banners out of this. They made huge stand-ups. I think Shelley took a picture of me in front of one of the big, huge cardboard, stand-ups that was in the lobby of the convention center. So it was it was pretty funny to go into a convention in Germany with your artwork literally everywhere, like it was my show, So Randy Hall says, nice. It's like Commandy has a girlfriend. Yes, but exactly. But they got dinosaurs, and like you got these weird sort of John Carter type guys flying, pteranodon type things. So there you go. I got one more. The only picture that Shelley ever posed for. I did this pinup for this Turok pinup for Valiant. This was right after or shortly after my Malibu days. And so I had Shelley. She wasn't wearing this, but she was in some sort of like her aerobics teaching outfit or something. And I had her pose. And that's the only time she ever posed for me, so I could get the pose right. And so this was, I don't know which issue of Turok this actually appeared in. What does it say? Turok the Hunted, #2. There you go. Unfortunately, Valiant had really crappy printing. They were still printing on newsprint, and the coloring was, but yeah. So again, that's all brush. But again, very kind of thin, wispy feathering lines. When I first started working, my work was really, really too bold. And I'm bold as being generous. It was clunky. And so I tried to refine it down so I had thinner, more controlled looking line work. And I was really sort of hitting my stride here. And this was, what's the date on this? Oh, look, I was signing like Michael Golden. Where is it? There it is. Right there. That AL. And I stole that from Michael Golden. So I was going through a golden phase here. I just met him recently about the time I did this, and he became my mentor, whether he liked it or not. And anyway, so this would have been prior to 2000, 99 maybe, 97-ish, maybe 98, somewhere in that neighborhood. Because this is before CrossGen. Okay, so there are a couple of pieces from the old flat files to reminisce about the lost pinups that aren't so lost. Green Laser wants to know what happened to the Godzilla piece Aaron actually drew the other day. What indeed? I've got huge portfolios full of Graybeard studio art. Remember the Max from just a couple of weeks ago? Or my version of the Max. That was the John Malin show. So John Malin will make fun of Graybeards, but he really loves the show. So yeah, there it is. There's a Scooby-Doo. Now, we did this on Graybeards back when we would draw for 2.5, sometimes 3 hours. And we finally had to cut the show down because it was going too long. So we haven't done a lot of color work recently, but there is the Godzilla that I did for the Godzilla show. Kind of has a Wrightson-y, a later Wrightsony feel to it. But there you go. There it is, green laser, right there. So, Slavic one says, "You color that? You better believe I did. I colored it." And you guys might remember the Emir from 20 Million Miles to Earth. I colored that too. This is when that the show ran a lot longer than it does. What am I looking for? Oh, it's not in here. I thought my Sienkiewicz Moon Knight. That was fun. Lord of the Rings. I didn't do Lord of the Rings on the show. I just did this for recreation. Can't believe I haven't sold it yet, but there it is. Look at that. Jaguar God still sitting in there. And Laura Croft. I did Laura Croft on the show. Jaguar God, I didn't. In honor of Thanksgiving coming up here, we got the Nervous Turkey. That was a show. That was one of the early Graybeards where Mark Nelson was a guest star. And he did an alien turkey. I did this turkey. And David Williams did, this is pre-Kelsey Graybeards. So it was like a long time ago. And David did Turkey Man, this superhero. It was really kind of funny. This, of course, is from my Warriors of the Light fantasy graphic novel story that I might do next after Wraith of God 3. I might do this graphic novel, and because it's been sitting on I almost did this at Vertigo and back in the day. So I might do that next. Anyway, all sorts. Look, if you're not watching Graybeards, you should be watching Graybeard Studio every Wednesday at 2:00 Pacific time. Anyway, there we go. Enough about me, really. I'm blushing. Okay. Slavic one, do you usually color? No, sometimes. Like I said, the earlier shows were, especially when Kelsey was on, because Kelsey was always coloring everything. So he'd like put pressure on me and David to keep up with him. And we started shortening the length of the show, and we usually talk for at least 30 minutes before we start drawing. So we really only have about an hour and a half to do the drawing, hour and a half to 2 hours. So most of the time it ends up just being black and white. But when we were going sometimes for like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, it was a race to color because Kelsey was just pressuring the crap out of us. There's another color one of the Bugs Bunny episode. Colored that. Where's the and this is the one I just did this last week, was the Goon, in case you guys missed it. So not bad for about an hour and a half's work. So, you know, good times are had by all. And then occasionally I would go back in and color them. If I didn't get it done on the show, I would color it later. But like I said, I haven't done much art recently, in the last month, because I've been doing nothing but shipping books. Squibs. Rest in peace, Kelsey. Rest in peace, the color specials. Yeah. Yeah, that's Mr. Hyde from Scooby-Doo. And of course, all this stuff is for sale. So if you saw a piece there and you're like, I want that, contact me. None of them are all that expensive. So depending on what you deem as expensive, but they're usually around $200 or less, depending. So anyway, there you go. Now let's take a moment and look at a real professional, someone I've actually had the pleasure of meeting, which I can't say that all the time, and talking to. It's today's Who's This Guy? I'm getting to a point where I've done so many of these, I can't remember who I've featured. I don't think we've done James Gurney before. I don't, because I spent most of my time doing like old time classic illustrators. So let's take a look. And in case you're saying, who's James Gurney? Well, let's take a look at James here. There's old James sitting in his studio. Okay, here, I want to know, where did he get that dinosaur head right there? Because I want that. Where did he get that? You see his paintings here and things like that. Now, he's an oil painter. I mean, he works in everything, but the Dinotopia stuff that he did was all oil paints, but he does it really sort of thin. It's not real heavy oil, so it almost looks like watercolors, but it isn't. And if you're saying Dino, what did you just say, Aaron? He did a series of, I don't know if you call them, I mean, they are sort of children's books, but they're not like children's books. They're sort of, I don't know. I think anybody can enjoy them any age, but the illustrations are fantastic. And of course, George Lucas ripped off his Dinotopia cities to use in the second wave of Star Wars pictures, you know, like, what were those called? The Phantom Menace, and those that had like Queen Amidala in them in her home world. He ripped that off from James Gurney's Dinotopia, and I believe Gurney sued him and won. I don't know how much money, but, you know. Which always amazes me, because it's kind of like, you know, I'm sure Lucas could have called up James Gurney and hired him to do the design work and could have avoided the whole thing rather than hire other people to rip him off. I never understand that when guys do that. It's like, just call the guy that you want to rip off to do the stuff for you, because you're going to have to pay someone to do it anyway. You might as well pay the guy so you're not ripping him off, and then you get sued later. So I never understood that. But anyway, so he did this series of books called Dinotopia, and they are fantastic. The illustrations in them, if you have not seen these, you need to check them out. We'll take a closer look here in a minute. But what can I tell you about James Gurney? I can tell you many things about him, and I'll tell you, let me start here by putting up this so you don't have to look at my face while I'm reading this. But there's another one of the illustrations from Dinotopia. It's freaking awesome. Now, James was born in 1958, the son of a mechanical engineer. Now, my son is a mechanical engineer. So where James Gurney is an artist and his dad was a mechanical engineer, I'm an artist and my son's a mechanical engineer. Weird. He taught himself to draw by reading books about the illustrators Norman Rockwell and Howard Pyle. Well, it's funny how much you can learn by just reading and looking at how-to books by really skilled people, or not even how-to books, but just studying other people's art. Prompted by a cross-country adventure on freight trains, he co-authored The Artist's Guide to Sketching in 1982. During the same period, he worked as a background painter for the animated film Fire and Ice. How about that? Co-produced by Ralph Bakshi and Frank Frazetta. I didn't know that. His freelance illustration career began with paperback book covers, where he developed his characteristic realistic renderings of fantastic scenes, often using posed models and handmade maquettes for reference. I wonder if he made that dinosaur on his wall. This guy's very talented, very talented. He has worked on more than a dozen assignments for National Geographic magazine, painting reconstructions of, Moshe, Kushite, and Etruscan civilizations. The inspiration that came from researching these scenes of ancient life led to a series of Lost World paintings, including Dinosaur Parade and Waterfall City. With the encouragement of retired publishers Ian and Betty Ballantyne, he committed 2 years of time to writing and illustrating Dinotopia, A Land Apart from Time, which was published in 1992. Solo expeditions of his artwork have been presented at the Smithsonian, the Norman Rockwell Museum, the Norton Museum of Art, Delaware Art Museum, and other venues. He is a popular lecturer at art schools, movie studios, and game companies, and he teaches occasional workshops. His book, Color and Light, A Guide for the Realistic Painter, we'll take a look at that in a minute, and Amazon's number one best-selling book, has been Amazon's number one best-selling book on painting for over 52 weeks, and is based on his daily blog, Gurney Journey, blogspot.com. So His blog is also excellent because he does a lot of how-to stuff. Check this out. I love this one. Of course, I love T-Rexes, so Creative Face says Gurney does live watercolor paintings on his YouTube videos. And he's really an artist because he's one of those guys that, I mean, he goes out and does plein air painting, you know, where you bring your paints out, set up your easel and start painting landscapes and stuff. I mean, me, I'm very sort of fantasy oriented. It's like, you know, I want to draw dinosaurs or heroic figures or, you know, fantastic worlds. I don't like drawing real stuff. It bores me. But this guy is like, he draws everything and does it all really, really well. GJ Martinez says, or Jeff Potts says, is that T-Rex living on Uranus? Oh my gosh. This is another Dinotopia piece. If you guys do not have those, there's 3 books. There's 3 different books in the Dinotopia series. You need to get them all because the artwork in them is just, it's like this on every page. It's just incredible. Now here, I don't want to, I've already ticked off evolutionists before to a point where they wouldn't back my campaigns anymore because they got so mad at me. But I'm not sure I buy this feather. I don't buy the dinosaurs evolved into birds thing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we see a little bit of that going on here with the T-Rex with some feathers going here on his head. I don't like that look as much. It looks kind of dumb to me. It's like he's wearing a wig or something. I'd rather just keep them all reptile all the way. Now look at this. These paintings are so freaking complex. I mean, he does these wonderful backgrounds, you know, these landscapes, and then he also has like dinosaurs in them. And you're just like, oh man, it's fantastic. I mean, look at the, you know, this guy is so like, how should we say, what's the right word? I don't, technical is not really the word I'm looking for, but I mean, he's like designing these like straps, you know, that would actually work to hold this little canopy on the back of this dinosaur and how it would hook up to the dinosaur. And look at the blanket underneath here with this design and stuff. Just incredible. There you go. Paul knows. He's a biologist. I'm like an ant. I don't know all the dinosaurs. I know the ones I like. And I've always been a dinosaur guy as a kid, but I never did like extensive reading and research into it. So I don't know all of them. Now this is really a beautiful painting. Look at the color in this. It sort of evokes the early works of that guy who did that stuff. I just love his work. Maxwell Parrish. Parrish's stuff was more vibrant than this, but this is, I mean, look at the color back here. This is very Parrish-esque. This blue back here, and but just a beautiful painting. And then you throw a dinosaur in there to make it cool. You know, most guys would just do the painting of the girls and you'd go, oh yeah, that's a beautiful painting, yawn. But then you put in a dinosaur and you go, oh, that's so cool. They're very, very nice. Here's some more. Most all this stuff is Dinotopia stuff, but now here you see he's using a little thicker paint than maybe what I normally would see from him. You can tell right here on the wings how thick that color is on here. Look at this. This would just, oh, it would kill me. If drawing this would kill me. But then once the drawing was done and say, oh yeah, and Aaron, now paint it, I'd be like, I would draw this part. I'd love this part here. And then I'd put a bunch of clouds up here and forget the rest. Great piece though. Now this is, well, I guess there is a little dinosaur here, but this is mostly just a landscape from Dinotopia, but look at how cool that is. Kind of wondering if now that I see this, I'm kind of did Avatar rip him off too? Does everybody rip off James Gurney instead of just hiring him to do it? That's really cool. But look at this here. This is like stain. It's so thin. It's like Frazetta used to do this in parts of his paintings. It's not like this thick, opaque use of oil paints. It's this really sort of thinned out staining version and parts of this. And it gets heavier up here. Because that's what they say. It's like the shadows are really, really thin, and then the highlights should be very opaque and heavier paint. And that's what we see here. And he's got a little bit of this purple in the shadow area that, you know, he brings in from here. Oh, this is really, really nice. And just his, you know, the ability to create really killer environments and backgrounds that's a talent in and of itself. Now here's just a regular old landscape he did. You know, this is something I would never paint. Now, if I started painting it, I would probably get into it, you know, but just conceptualizing this bores me. I was like, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's like, I can't see myself doing this. Now I would do this and then paint a big old dinosaur right here, or some monster coming out of this lake and ruin the whole thing. This guy's very prolific, but he's just very good. He's a guy that like seems to be constantly painting, constantly illustrating. He just can't stop himself, you know, and I guess that's a sign of a true artiste. Now, if you guys are interested, this book is fantastic. And I said earlier, I don't read, but I read this. And he discusses how he lays out his illustrations, you know, the process he goes through from conceptual design to finished painting. And it's very helpful. A lot of guys do how-to books and they're just garbage. Like Boris's how-to book is terrible. I've got several other by artists I really, really like, but they just, the way they discuss how they do what they do is totally inadequate. And he really gets into the weeds. And so if you're into that and you really want to get a great understanding of how to approach a painting from the very, concept to the very end and all the things that he thinks about in terms of color and light. I mean, it sounds like this is very specific, and it is, but it's also very broad in terms of showing you how to complete a painting or the steps to take to get from A to Z to the finished painting, and then all the things that he thinks about in terms of color and light and shadow and how he uses all those things in his paintings. And then he has this. You know, I'm going to correct myself here because I may be thinking about this book. This might be the one that has all the steps in it, and the color and light may just very specifically be, it's been a long time since I've read them, so I may be confusing the two. So this actually, the imaginative realism might actually have all the steps in it. So before you buy, flip through it, make sure you're getting the right one for whatever your needs are. But I'd recommend both of them, quite frankly. They're really, really good. There you go. Mikael says, imaginative realism and color and light are the art books. They are. I have never read how-to books more informative than these books. And so I would, again, highly, 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 highly recommend these. Gary Martin's in the chat. Gary will back me up on this, I'm sure, if he hasn't seen these or if he has seen them. One thing I want to say about James Gurney was that I met him at the Spectrum show. Spectrum was, I don't think they still do it, but there was a fantasy art book that would come out every year, and it was like the best of science fiction and fantasy art. And there'd be these big kind of catalogs you would get. And they started doing a show, like a comic show, but it wasn't a comic book convention. It was an art show, but it was set up like a comic convention. And all these great fantasy illustrators would show up at these things. And so I was up. It was weird because it was right downtown Kansas City. It's Kansas City, Kansas. It wasn't Kansas City, Missouri, was it? Because they're right like next to each other. I'm trying to think. I think it was in Kansas City, Kansas. But anyway, so the one time we went, it was in this building that had like a balcony around 3/4, like a horseshoe. And then they had the main floor down here. So I was up on the balcony, and there was some comic book people there. Not many, but like me, Frank Cho, who else was there? Gary Gianni was there. I don't know if Schultz was there or not. I can't remember. Terry Dodson was there 1 year with me. I went 2 years. I might have gone 3 years. But I know Terry was there 1 year with me. And so we were all sort of up in this comic book area, all like in this one sort of extended booth. We all had our own little table, but we were all sitting next to it. And James Gurney walks up, right? And I'm like, and so I went over and started talking to him, and what a nice guy, incredibly nice guy, very complimentary of my work. I'm sure he was lying, but he's still very nice. And we'd talk about, just art and what he was doing. And it was just really, really amazing to get to meet him and talk to him. He's super, super nice guy. And, I was like, why is this guy? But he talked to me like, it was like, I was there for a reason, like I was somebody, and it was nice. And, I got to speak with, not the same show, but a different show, Ian McKeag, who of course did tons of work on Star Wars and different fantasy films. And if you don't have Ian McKeag's book Shadowline, look it up on Amazon and get it. It's fantastic. It's an art book, but he has this narrative story that runs through the art book that's very clever. A great way to do a collection of your art is to put this narrative story in there that sort of takes you through this, this character going and goes through this process, and like Frankenstein monsters in it. And there's it's really cool with all the drawings and stuff. So, and he was really cool too. So it's like, I got to meet guys that I really admired, illustrators that I really admired, and guys that I have we done Ian McKeag on this show? I don't know if we have. I probably should do Ian McKeag because his stuff is fantastic. And unfortunately, you don't get to see a lot of it because it's movie work, behind the scenes type movie work. And that stuff a lot of times just doesn't make it out. And so it's really exciting to get to see that stuff and the process that went into creating Darth Maul and all these other characters and stuff that he worked on. He did a ton of work for the first incarnation of the John Carter film, which had Hugh Jackman as John Carter, which that would have been great. But it never got made. And then, of course, years later, they did the Disney version. What'd I say? Ian McKeag. Ian McKeag is that the wrong? Ian Anderson's in Jethro Tull. Ian McKeag, that's right, isn't it? Now I got to go look. Don't go anywhere. I'm positive that's right. I'm looking for his book. Hang on a second. Yes, it's Ian McKeag. I'm right. Yeah, so this is it right here. Shadowline, The Art of Ian McKeag. Look at this kind of goofy stuff he does. creatures and look at that's what I was talking about. That's the John Carter, some of the John Carter stuff. Some of it's traditional, some of it's digital. But there's just all kinds of weird, cool stuff in here. So there's some Deja Thoris stuff. That's digital, of course. Yeah, I guess this guy goes like through this story, and I think it's kind of based on. Look at that. That's just like the frontis page. Freaking kidding me. Excuse me. So I had no intention of getting off on an Ian McKeg. But I think the protagonist that goes through this story is kind of based on Adrian Brody. Look at that. So anyway, I don't want to get into Ian McKeg too deeply because that, we're talking about James Gurney. But anyway, there you go. Thank you for all the blessings for my sneeze. I appreciate that. Yes, Apex is right. Brilliant art from Ian McKeg. The guy is fantastic. Yeah, people are still asking about the late arrivals are asking about the Man Thing lunchbox back there. Somebody sent me that. I don't know who sent it. So if you send it, identify yourself so I may properly thank you. But somebody sent me that Man Thing lunchbox right here. I don't know who, but all righty, guys. It's getting late, but it's never too late to go hunting for Bigfoot. Do you know I was not nominated for an award for best show? How is that even possible? I'm kidding, of course. I said I was going to say something about the award show, and just that I just think that stuff's all good fun, and I know people are getting a little too frustrated, but I will say this, that that Ethan and John Malin and Shane encourage their backers to go in and vote, and that's what you do at award shows, Academy Awards. Everybody does that, so it's not like. The only thing I would say is if the people voting were just doing it to troll the show, I don't think that's very nice, because then you sort of wreck the whole award show. But if they were actually out there voting for people they thought, were the best, then, whatever. I got nominated in 6 categories. I won nothing but the hearts of the people. So no, it's fun that, people think highly of your stuff, that I would even end up getting nominated for something. So, but anyway, here we go. Let's take a look at, all right. So how do you take a picture like this when you're clearly about 10 to 15 feet away from Bigfoot? How do you get that close? How are we only seeing his backside? Why isn't he turning? I mean, are you that stealthy that you can sneak up on Bigfoot and get this photograph without him turning around and seeing you? I don't know. Maybe you are. I'm not, I'll tell you this, down here, I will say this. There's really nothing to see here. It's on a video, but they just slowly zoom in, but the feet look pretty good. The leg and everything here looks pretty good. I think it looks like a costume. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure how you get this shot without getting a shot of his face. Did he just we're like going, hey, Bigfoot. And he's just ignoring you and going, he's just walking away. He's like, I'm ignoring you. I'm walking away. I'm not going to engage with you. And so all you get is a shot of him, walking away. But it's actually in focus, more or less. So, Green Laser says the butt looks weird. Well, yeah, it does. This whole thing looks, I mean, it depends on what version of Bigfoot, is it a big, is he super hairy like a bear, or is he patchy, or, you don't really see, I mean, there's some articulation in the musculature in the legs. The butt, though, isn't very well defined. It's hard to say. But it's not a bad job. Obviously I don't think it's real, but it's not a bad job for a fake. How the hair goes out on the feet and everything. It looks, looks pretty decent. It's not like he's wearing boots or anything. Tyson didn't fight. That's how he lost. He was paid off. It was staged. Tyson didn't fight, but was that because he's a geezer? I mean, he looked every bit of 60. That was the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. Worst. Daniel Russell. Aaron, pull your head out of Uranus. I sent the lunchbox. Did you tell me you sent that and I forgot? Thank you, Daniel. I'm going to go look at my emails. Did you send me that? I totally forgot if you warned me. Well, thank you. That is very cool. We were just going, this is so cool. So Daniel Russell did it. Thank you, sir. And like I said, if you told me this was coming and I forgot, but I appreciate it very much. That's very, very cool. And it's going in a place of honor in the studio. We opened it up earlier on the show. There's a big old thermos in there. So the problem is, I guess you can talk about Man-Thing and Bigfoot at the same time. They're very similar. It's not like the old style lunchbox where the thermos fit in here like, sideways this way, and there was room for your sandwich and stuff. It like takes up the whole box. So I might be able to put like, some brownies or something in here. Or a hot dog would fit in there that way. But yeah, so this is like super cool. I'm not going to use it to carry food in, but I am going to put it in my studio in a place of honor. So thank you for that very much. And I'm sorry I forgot if you told me that you were sending it to me. I'll go back and check my emails. I'll probably find it and going, okay, what an idiot I am. But there you go. Packs of crackers will work. Yep. All righty. All right, let's get back to this. This is this is so ridiculous. Here's the problem. This is, this guy supposedly is out in the woods filming deer. Now watch the deer turn to look in his direction. And then he turns the camera around. Okay, just watch this. So the deer look, see the deers lift their head and look, and then he turns his camera around and there it is, standing right behind him. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Let's take a look at this again. He's like, why are the deer looking at him? Because they see the camera guy. That's why they're looking. I don't even know. Is this a mask? Is this just bad AI? What are we looking at here? Look at his face. What in the freaking world? Is that his eye there, his nose there, and his mouth down here? What is that, Alan Moore? I mean, what is going on here? It's all jacked up, man. It doesn't even look right. Paul Taylor says it reminds me of Tiny Tim for some reason. Oh, yes, I do get those sticks, the ones that are wrapped in the prosciutto that wrapped around the mozzarella. I do get those all the time at Trader Joe's. They would fit in there. Gen X is like, do not shame Bigfoot. Tiny Tim, yes, that's exactly what it looks like. This is just, I mean, I like the whole concept of I'm filming deer and oh, what's that behind me? And kind of thing. But you gotta do better on the face. I mean, what is going on here? That's an eye, definitely. That's his nose, and his mouth is all the way down here. But look at it's all the way crooked like this. It's like, where's his other eye? Is it maybe covered up by hair here? Is there a nose? I don't know. It just looks like a Jethro Tull album cover or something. But I do like the winter. It's very nice. But yeah, I'm not buying that. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is so clearly, I don't even know. What I try to do is I try not to show stuff that is so clearly fake that it's not even worth our time making fun of. This is borderline. Look at this photo. I mean, that doesn't even, I mean, what is this texture? What is this? Looks like somebody took a picture of the outside and then put this in there in Photoshop or something. It just, this, I mean, there's his nose, there's his eyes. So he has kind of the monkey look, shaggy hair. I mean, I like the body language. I like the look of it in terms of character design, but it's so poorly executed that I don't know how anybody could take this seriously. And so I'm not going to. Yes, he looks like the man thing there. Paul Taylor says, hastily made up extra for Planet of the Apes. Maybe. Looks like the man. There's another man thing foot. See? Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I don't... yeah, I just think this looks like a 15-minute paste up job. And I need more effort from you. But I did kind of like the look of the monster, just not the execution here. So, all right. Now this is next level weird. This is, well, I'll just show you. This is not Bigfoot, but it is some allegedly weird creature, cryptid from a door camera. Here we go. Now, this looks pretty good. I have to admit, they did the shadow, the feet, you can watch the feet touch the ground. That kind of feels like AI. I mean, the whole thing does, but it's pretty good. Is this, there's John Malin. Malin, is this your dog? This looks like a dog that Malin would own. It's like, stay off my lawn or I'm going to let this thing go. I don't know. That's, I think someone put some work into this. So you turn this into my cryptid class, you're getting I'm going to give you an A on this. I really like this one. The problem with videos like this is, where's him leaving? Where's him roaming around here in this cubby before he leaves? Why does the film stop right there? It's because it took the guy, several months to do the animation, and he's tired of, doesn't want to do anymore. Because obviously there would be more video to this, but for a short clip, I'm kind of digging it. The paws are freaky. I mean, the whole thing is freaky. Yeah, so Malin's pretty close to Malin's dog. So it's kind of figured that Paul Taylor reminds me of a dog. Really? Oh, the door cam moves? Yeah, that's a good question. Dog covered in plaster of Paris. I don't know. This is pretty good. This is what we got to, like 3 or 4 years from now, 5 years from now, the AI stuff is going to be so good. We're just going to be like going, we're not going to be able to believe anything we see. So that's why you have to be a complete skeptic, a complete cynic like me, and not believe anything. At least it wasn't Tiny Tim again, says Green Laser. Now, Randy Howell's going a little bit deeper dive here. AI adapted film footage of a dog. So you're saying you take a dog and then you manipulate it with AI to get it to look like this. I can see that. I mean, the shadow is right on the money, right? That would not be easy to do. So to think that maybe this was an actual footage of a dog and then they jacked around with it with AI or CGI or whatever to make it look like that, I'm on board. What does that even mean? Thundar's Demon Dog says leg kick. All right. Okay. All righty, guys. That's going to do it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank you, of course, for the super chats and everybody that participated in the show. We cannot do this show without your help, and I greatly appreciate your attendance, even at this jacked up hour, not at our regular time. So next week, we'll be back at our regular time at 3:30 on Sunday Pacific, unless Shelly and I decide to move this to a different date, a different day during the week, and then, of course, we'll let you know. Let me do a quick reminder to all you viewers out there right now that I do have a campaign called Wraith of God Fear Hollow. This is Wraith of God number 3, the third in a series of graphic novels featuring the Wraith of God and Esther. This time they face off against the Headless Horseman. You have 4 cover options. Here they are. We'll do it real quick. Lots of good stuff in here. You can get prints. You can get the rough sketchbook. You can get shot glasses. You can get poker chips. You can get back issues. Let's face it, folks, this one's got it all, as Stan Lee might have said back in the day. So you find the description in, let me try that again. You'll find the link in the description of this video, along with a link to my website. You want to check out all the goodies there as well. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time right here on Aaron Live.